The Sega Saturn has some of the most expensive games on the market, and I am the game collector, and this is Second Opinion Games. And today I count down the top 10 expensive Sega Saturn games worth getting. Now, something to note here is that I don't do emulation at all, so all of these games were recorded on my real Sega Saturn. So I just want to throw that out there because it looks like I spent a fortune. So let's start this list now.
Second Opinion Games.
Number 10, Enemy Zero, a survival horror masterpiece taking place in space. Essentially, it's just aliens, but with a lot more point-and-click adventure elements in here, and also a very silent protagonist. You'll run through corridors, hoping not to come face-to-face with an invisible alien. How does that really work? Well, there's music cues that you have to listen to, and hopefully you'll be ready for them with your charging blaster gun. There's also quite a bit of animated cutscenes in here, and it looks beautiful, and it better because it runs in at just over $100. Enemy Zero might not be for everyone, but for the true dedicated horror fans, it's a must-have. Number 9, Panzer Dragoon Saga. This was billed as a Final Fantasy VII killer, so does it live up to the hype? Well, no, not really. It's not as good as that game, but it will bring you about $600 on eBay. And I do love the graphics and all of the dragons. The world is very open and vast, and there's lots of collectibles. I really enjoy the turn-based strategy to the whole game, and it really does fit in great. And we're probably never going to see a re-release of this game because Sega supposedly just erased all the source data to it, so it will forever be one of the most expensive games. Is it worth the ridiculous price that you have to pay? Well, I'll leave that one up to you and how much you love dragons. Number 8, Albert Odyssey. When you see that Working Designs logo, you know you're in for an expensive game that happens to be a good time with a great translation that doesn't really match up with the original. Yeah, they add in their own sense of humor here and there. And this is a JRPG down to its core, complete with the random battles that happen very often. Also, about halfway through the game, it takes a very tonal shift, meaning that it kind of feels like two separate games jammed into one massive story. So you're really getting a deal out of the $250 that you're gonna spend on this game. I really like the branching choices and the dialogue trees, so I always pick the worst possible one every single time just so I can laugh my butt off at all the responses. This is probably one of the best JRPGs ever made, and I strongly recommend everyone pick this one up, especially if you have a good sense of humor. Number 7, Tri-Rush Deppy. A bright and colorful action platform game that comes straight from Japan. It is completely English friendly, so don't let the import really fool you that hard. You play as a very derpy looking car, continuously guzzling gasoline that also doubles as your health and your fuel to make it to the exit. If you really want to, you could help out your fellow cars along the way as you race across America. Now, there are going to be huge bosses that stand in your way on this one, and a terrific train level late in the game. But if you want to see a full review on it, I already did one. However, if you want to buy this game, be willing to spend over $300 stinking dollars on it. And wow, that's a lot to spend on a derpy looking car. Number 6, Herc's Adventures. This is a spiritual sequel to Zombies Ate My Neighbors, only a lot better. Instead of individual levels, there is a huge open world here. There are also 3 different characters that you could choose from. Normally I pick Hercules because he's voice acted by the same guy that does the voice of Homer Simpson. But this time around, I'm picking Athena because she is really awesome with her bow and arrows. Every single character has different ups and downs, meaning every time you play this game, it's gonna feel fresh. Killing the evil Hades and all of his minions never felt better. There's also a great LucasArts sense of humor to this entire game, and you're gonna be laughing your way to the bank as you only spend around $150 on this total masterpiece. Number 5, Saturn Bomberman. Well, the US version will set you back around $500. However, the Japanese import version's closer to about $25, and it's most notable for having a 10-player multiplayer deathmatch. But let's face it, you don't have 9 friends. Luckily, the single-player mode here is a lot of fun too. I love running around stages, planting my bombs, and eventually blowing myself up. Just don't play this one on any airplanes or even try to bring it along in your luggage, or you'll probably be in jail for the rest of your life. Saturn Bomberman is a terrific time, whether you have a ton of friends or no friends at all. And thank God, because I'm gonna need something to play while I'm sitting in Sing Sing. Number 4, Kalos Flying Squadron 2. This is a sequel to a Sega CD game, and I'm just gonna spell it out for you guys, that Japan is really weird. Where else can you have your main protagonist be a 14-year-old girl wearing a one-piece swimming suit with high heels and bunny ears, riding on the back of a dragon, shooting down evil raccoons? There's also a small morality system here too, where if you kill enemies that are kinda just wanting to walk in a straight line, you know, like Goombas, where Mario is all bloodthirsty and just jumps on them and rips them apart and kills the turtles that are also really innocent and just trying to walk to get to the grocery store. Well, here in this game, it will penalize you for doing just that. You will also lose points if you get hit, so trying to get hit and die so often, and you will eventually unlock some really cool art as you play through the game. If you really want to do the game in the evil way, well, you could do that as well and then unlock different unlockables even with a negative score. So score is really everything, on top of the terrific story and the great tight gameplay. This is one that you have to see to believe for yourself, and it will set you back $250 just to give it a try.
What the? A crab?
Number 3, Guardian Heroes. Only $180 to play co-op in one of the best beat-em-ups ever made. Even if you don't have a friend, you're still playing co-op with the computer as this undead creature comes back to life just to help you out to destroy everything in its path. Now, there are 3 different planes to jump across, tons of different magic abilities, assuming that you pick a magic-wielding character, and a terrific game from start to finish with branching paths that actually change the bosses and the entire way the game ends. So, if you want to experience this one, well, you have to turn to the Sega Saturn to get the most bang for your buck. Well, I mean, or you could just download the Xbox version. Number 2, Magic Knight Rayearth. Coming out only a year before the Dreamcast, this was the Sega Saturn's final swan song. Well, they also had stickers in the instruction manual, so if you still have all of those, well then this game will fetch even more money, right around $500 or so, and I would say it's worth every penny. Controlling 3 girls in the 8th grade in a magical kingdom trying to save the world, or at least their world, with different magical spells, and each one has different attributes as well, whether you're a swordsmith or use your bow and arrow. Sometimes you could be casting magical spells or epic sprite scaling in what is mostly a 16-bit game. It's quite fun with a heavy emphasis on action in this action RPG. It's hard to get any better than this.
The time has come for a little child abuse.
My pleasure, Saga.
Number 1, Elevator Action returns. This is an arcade-perfect port of a terrific run-and-gun game. You have to run inside these red doors to retrieve some data and shoot up nearly every single person you come across and splatter their brains against the wall. Yeah, there's a lot of blood in this one, even if it is very small. You could also throw hand grenades and catch people on fire. It's terrific from start to finish. I put this one up there with Contra 3 as best run-and-gun game of all times. So you better believe it's worth the $200 that it's going to cost to import this one from Japan. And it's simply a masterpiece in every single way. Even if it is only about 10 to 15 minutes in gameplay, it certainly stands up as one game that you're going to come back to many times over. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this list. I had a great time making it, and of course I don't emulate any of my games, so I couldn't play certain games like Burning Rangers, which I don't have yet, but I guarantee you I will get it and play it in the future. Also, Radiant Silvergun I didn't think was worth the super high price. As a matter of fact, all these games for the ridiculous amount that you have to pay for to get them now might not be worth all the money. But you know what? If you don't want to spend that, it's certainly worth the money to mod your console to play backups, which I recommend everyone does because you don't have a time machine like I did in order to get these games at a decent price. So hopefully you guys can talk to me and leave me a message about all the great games that you have for the Sega Saturn and games that you want me to cover in the future and even top 10s you want me to do. So until later, I will see you again, guys.